Some men spend 31 years running into burning buildings and think they've already met the worst thing life can throw at them. I retired at 62 believing that. Then a stranger called me at midnight about a bench outside a community center, and I learned the worst thing doesn't smell like smoke at all. It smells like a 9-year-old boy's backpack. Friday, September 12th, Bozeman, Montana, 11:52 p.m. I was asleep in my chair, ball game finishing on the TV, cold meatloaf on the side table. A 68-year-old widower's Friday night. My phone lit up. Unknown number, local prefix. I nearly let it ring out. Is this Walter Kearney? It is. Sir, my name's Hollis Pruitt, night cleaning at Gallatin Community Center. Your name's on an emergency card in the office. There's a boy out here on the bench. Been here since we locked up at 6. I sat forward so fast my plate hit the floor. 9 years old, dark hair, blue backpack with a compass on the zipper. That's him exactly. 6 to 11:50. Nearly 6 hours on a metal bench in Montana's September cold. Put him on the phone, Mr. Pruitt. Don't hang up. I'm 4 minutes out. Then the smallest voice I've ever heard on a telephone. Grandpa? Hey, buddy, I'm coming right now. Are you cold? A little. I'm okay, though. I've got my jacket. He didn't have a jacket. I'd bought him one the previous November. I'd later learn it had gone into a donation bag in June. Diego, sit right there with Mr. Pruitt. Don't move for anybody else. Silence. Then, is Mom mad at me? I stood in my dark kitchen, keys already in hand, heart slamming against my ribs. Why would you ask that? Because they left on Sunday, and I think I did something. I've been going to camp and coming home like I'm supposed to. I didn't tell anybody. Didn't want to get anybody in trouble. Sunday. It was Friday. I don't remember putting my shoes on. I remember the drive, the corner onto Tamarack, that boy standing up under a security light, and Hollis Pruitt, 71 years old, with his own coat wrapped around a child who wasn't his, clearly having decided he wasn't leaving until somebody worthy showed up. Diego just walked into me and held on. I picked him up, all 61 pounds of a boy who should have weighed more, and stood there while Hollis looked away to give us privacy. Mother's phone goes straight to voicemail, he told me quietly. Father's too. Camp ended today. Nobody came at pickup. Nobody came at close. He paused. That child told me he's been sleeping at his house alone. He told me the code to his own front door. Would you write all that down? Everything, with times? I'll have it to you by morning. He looked at Diego. I hope somebody answers for this. They would. I just didn't say so yet. I buckled us both in. Diego was asleep before I left the lot. At a red light on Oak and 19th, I did the thing I'd told myself not to do. I opened my daughter's page. Posted that afternoon, 4:31 p.m., Orlando. My daughter Sabrina in sunglasses, her husband Grant's arm around her, my 6-year-old twin grandkids Cole and Piper in matching shirts in front of the castle everybody knows. Giant mouse ear ice creams in hand. Caption. Our whole world, all 4 of us, best 12 days of our lives. 4. I read that word 9 times at a green light with nobody behind me, and my grandson asleep in back. 4, not 5. I've stood in burning buildings. I have never been as cold as I was at that intersection. I got Diego home, tucked him into what used to be his mother's room. He fell asleep with one hand curled around the little brass compass on his backpack strap, the one I gave him the day his adoption went final, when he was 4, and had already lived in 3 houses that weren't his. A compass means you always know which way home is. I'd told him. Then I made coffee I had no business drinking and opened a notebook. Every date, every hour, the camp's name, the custodian's number, the post's timestamp, Diego's exact words while they were still fresh. I wasn't angry. Anger burns hot and fast, and I've watched it take down more houses than bad wiring ever did. I was writing because 31 years on an engine company teaches you one thing. The people who win are the people with the report. At 2:40 a.m., I searched Attorney, Child, Bozeman. Second result, Marisol Vega, Vega Family Law, 19 years. And beneath her photo, the line that made me sit up. Former staff attorney, Montana Department of Child and Family Services. Someone who used to write the reports herself. I emailed her at 2:51 a.m. My name is Walter Kearney, retired fire captain, 68. My 9-year-old grandson was left alone for 6 days while his parents took his siblings to Florida. Found tonight outside a locked building. I have a written eyewitness statement coming, and a timeline already built. I want to know everything the law allows. I'm not looking for an apology. Then I bought 2 tickets to Anchorage, Alaska. If a story like this means something to you, hit subscribe, drop a like, tell me where you're listening from. I read every comment. Here's why Alaska. Diego has a paper road map taped over his bed, an actual folded map he found in my garage among my late wife's things. He colors in a state whenever he visits one. In 5 years, he'd colored exactly one, Montana. He'd lie on his stomach on my rug for an hour, pencil in hand, not coloring, just looking. At 3:20 a.m., I called my daughter, knowing she wouldn't answer, wanting exactly that, for her to wake up in a Florida resort bed and find her father's voice waiting like a letter from a lawyer. Hey, sweetheart, got Diego with me tonight. He's fine, he's asleep. Turns out he's been on his own a while. Don't cut your trip short. He and I are taking a little trip of our own. We'll talk when you're home. Saturday morning, Diego shuffled into the kitchen, hair sideways, compass in his fist. Grandpa, why are you dressed like that? Man wears a real shirt when he's flying. Flying where? Alaska. He looked at me the careful way kids look when they've been disappointed enough times to check the exits first. For real Alaska? Or pretend Alaska? That's the sentence I'll be hearing when they put me in the ground. For real, wheels up at 11. He sprinted down the hall, dragging the runner rug with him, and came back clutching the map. Can I bring this so I can color it right when we land? You can color it on the plane. Monday morning, Seward, Alaska. The lodge room had a wall of glass facing Resurrection Bay, black water, mountains dropping straight into it, fog sitting tired on the ridgeline. I drive a 22-year-old truck on principle. I nearly asked the desk clerk if there'd been a mistake. Diego stopped 4 feet inside the door and didn't move. Grandpa, is this ours? 6 days. He colored Alaska in standing up, pressing so hard the paper dimpled. Then he looked at the 2 colored states and the other 48 and said, mostly to himself, okay. Day 1, a boat into the fjords? He asked the naturalist 11 questions in 40 minutes. A humpback surfaced 60 yards off the rail and blew, and the whole deck yelled, and Diego grabbed a fistful of my coat and didn't let go until she went under again. Why'd she come up right where we were? Because she wanted to see who showed up. Day 2. A charter captain named Ike Sorensen put a rod in Diego's hands. You bring it in, you clean it. That's the deal. 9 minutes fighting a halibut. A sound out of him I'd never heard before. Then he cleaned it himself, while Ike coached him low and steady. I had to look at the water a minute. Day 3. The lodge cook, Bertie Halverson, put an apron on him and taught him sourdough pancakes with a starter older than the 2 of us combined. You keep him, she told me. Dead serious. This one listens. I intended to, but here's what nobody at that lodge saw. Every night, once Diego was asleep, I stepped onto the deck, slid the door shut, and called Marisol Vega at 9 sharp, 10 her time. She picked up on the first ring, every time, no pleasantries. Night 1. What you've described isn't a bad decision, Mr. Kearney. In Montana, it has a statutory definition, neglect, not a gray area. What you have is unusually clean. A third-party eyewitness with a signed, timed statement. A public post placing both parents out of state during the window, the child's own account, which I want recorded properly, by someone trained, not by you. And a documented rescue by a mandatory reporter-adjacent third party at 11:52 at night. I'm filing the report. I'm filing an emergency ex parte petition for temporary guardianship, and I'm subpoenaing the school. I told her about a counselor's call from February. Sabrina had told me to stay in my lane. Write down that date tonight, she said, before you forget anything. Night 2, the money. You're going to want to change your will. I'll tell you how to do it so it can't be undone, and so it doesn't ruin him. An irrevocable trust, outside your estate, outside anyone's reach. But not released in full at 18, education and housing at 18 through an independent trustee, the remainder at 25. And name a successor trustee and guardian now, younger than you, because opposing counsel's first move will be your age. My niece Nadia, 41, ICU nurse in Missoula, married, 2 kids, loved that boy since day 1. Get me her number tonight. Night 3, Diego caught me on the deck. Grandpa, who are you talking to at nighttime? Grown-up business, bud. Bed. He considered this with enormous solemnity. Then can I have hot chocolate from the lobby machine? It's 9 at night. It's Alaska, though. 1 cup, then bed. I was building a legal case against my own daughter and getting negotiated with over cocoa. Night 4 hit different. At dinner, Diego set down his fork. Grandpa, can I ask something and you won't be mad? You can always ask me anything. Is it because I'm not really theirs? The restaurant kept moving. Our table went silent. I took both his small hands in mine and told him the truth, sized for 9 years old. What adoption is and isn't. That family isn't issued at birth but chosen out loud on paper, with a signature at the bottom. That being chosen isn't the runner-up prize, it's the whole event. That whatever was broken in that house was broken before he ever walked into it, and no 9-year-old is responsible for grown adults behaving badly. He nodded slowly, working through it. Then, can I have your coleslaw? And pie? 2 pies. I excused myself, ran cold water over my wrists in the restroom mirror. 2,000 miles south, my daughter, who I taught to drive on a gravel road, who I walked down an aisle 11 years ago, was sleeping fine. That thought dried my hands. I went back out and quit weighing it. We were going home, and Marisol had work to do. Wednesday, September 24th, my dining table, 8:59 a.m. Sabrina had sent one message. Got your voicemail. We should talk in person. I forwarded it to Marisol. Wednesday, my house, 9 a.m. She replied in 3 minutes. I'll be there at 8:59 with everything. She was charcoal suit, worn briefcase, coffee without ceremony. They don't know I'm here. They think it's family talk. A ghost of a smile. It is, just a well-documented one. Grant walked in first, collared shirt, dressed like he'd prepared for a meeting. Sabrina behind him, arms crossed, chin loaded with an argument she'd built on the drive. Grant saw the woman at the table and stopped like his plug had been pulled. Dad, who is this? Marisol Vega, family law, 19 years. Before that, 6 years with the state on cases, exactly like this one. Sit down. Marisol slid a single sheet across. No speech. Sunday, 6:15 a.m., vehicle departs, 4 occupants per a neighbor's doorbell camera. Diego alone all week, self-transporting to camp, rationing crackers and saved lunch. Friday, camp ends, nobody arrives. 11:52 p.m., child found by night custodian Hollis Pruitt, signed statement attached. The social media post, time-stamped, placing both parents in Florida. We had arrangements, Sabrina said. Grant's cousin Tricia. Miss Whitaker states she was asked in a group text on August 30th, never confirmed, and was in Idaho the entire week. She provided that thread voluntarily. Another page slid over, Sabrina's mouth shut. We're not here to establish whether it happened, Marisol said pleasantly. It happened. We're here so you understand what's already been done. Tuesday the 16th, I filed a report with Child and Family Services, substantiated as of Monday. Wednesday the 17th, I appeared before Judge Ellery Hoskins on an emergency petition. Mr. Kearney was granted temporary guardianship that afternoon. It's been in effect 8 days. Full hearing October 9th. You'll both be served this afternoon. I'd rather you heard it here first. He's 68, Sabrina said, voice cracking. He can't. Cleared by a full physical September 22nd. 31 years public service, no record, homeowner, no debt, and a named successor guardian, Nadia Corliss, 41, registered nurse, already consented and background checked. That boy will not be placed again. Ever. Sabrina finally looked at me. Dad. Just that. One word carrying 6 days and 18 months and 11 years. I gave her nothing. Let her carry it herself. I knew, she said, voice coming apart. The whole time. Grant said it was one trip, that Diego doesn't even like crowds, that we'd do something special with him after. I told myself that because it was easier. I packed my bag, walked past his door. He was sitting on his bed with that map, asked me what state we were going to. I told him Florida, said see you soon, bud. And I closed the door behind me. Grant turned and stared at her. She didn't look back, kept her eyes on me, wrecked, out of armor. I was furious. I was also grieving. Clean, plain grief for a girl I raised and a woman I no longer recognized. I let myself hold that 3 seconds. Then I slid my own folder across. I know you knew, Sabrina. That's the part I can't get past. Grant grabbed it, read it, went still. The house on Chestnut, the accounts, the 80 acres outside Livingston my father left me, all of it, as of Friday the 19th, sitting in an irrevocable trust for Diego. Education and housing at 18 through an independent trustee, the balance at 25, untouchable. And one line I'd insisted on, modest college accounts funded for Cole and Piper too. Sabrina looked up, confused. They're 6. None of this is theirs to carry, I said. I won't do to them what was done to him, but their grandfather is going to be very clear, for the rest of his life, about who was left on a bench. This is punitive, Grant said. No, son. Punitive would have been what I wanted at midnight on the 12th. This is just accurate. Marisol laid out terms for the October hearing. Diego stays with me. Weekly therapy paid by the trust. Supervised visitation for Sabrina 1 hour weekly. Contingent on completed counseling. No contact for Grant pending evaluation. Because in 11 years he'd never once signed a card Dad, and the school file had a February counselor's note flagging Diego's withdrawal, acknowledged by both parents in writing, never acted on. Grant walked out without a word. Sabrina paused at the door, back to me. Dad, is he okay? I let the silence sit. He will be. No thanks to you, but he will be. 6 months later, March, Bozeman. Diego lives with me permanently now. Guardianship came through in December. Judge Hoskins said from the bench he'd rarely seen a petition so thoroughly documented, and looked at me over his glasses when he said it. Diego's gained 11 pounds. He sees a therapist named Ms. Okonjo on Thursdays, whose office has a moon-shaped lamp and who lets him not talk if he doesn't feel like it, which he says is the best part, and which I suspect is exactly the point. The map hangs on his wall. Alaska's colored. Montana's colored. Idaho got colored in November when we drove to see Nadia. Wyoming got colored in February because a man doesn't need a better reason than a full tank of gas. 46 states left. We're making a dent. Sabrina comes to every supervised visit, never late. She reads to him, doesn't perform it, doesn't cry in front of him, which costs her something, I've come to understand. Her counselor told her, and she told me on the phone, that Grant had never wanted the adoption finalized, that he'd treated it as temporary, that she'd spent 11 years shrinking to fit a house he built. She filed for divorce in January, final this fall. I'm no therapist. I'm a man who used to put out fires. But I know the difference between someone performing change and someone attempting it. My daughter is attempting it, slowly, badly, some weeks. Not redemption, the road toward it. She's at least on the road. Cole and Piper visit once a month now. The first time, Piper sprinted across the room and tackled her brother. "Where did you go?" Diego looked over her head at me, with an expression I won't try to describe. Some of you will say I went too easy on my own daughter. I've heard it from 2 of my sisters already, thought about it at 3 in the morning, more nights than I'll admit. I'm still not certain I got that part right, but I'm certain about the rest. Last Sunday I found Diego on the rug, on his stomach, map and pencil out. He'd drawn a small ink line out from Seward into the water, and a little shape at the end of it. "What's that, bud?" "Where the whale came up," he said, without looking away. So I don't forget where it was. They spent $34,000 to show the world their family was a party of 4. I spent every dollar I had left, and every day I've got coming, to make sure one boy never has to wonder whether he counts again. That's the whole of it. If this one got to you, like it, subscribe, tell me where you're listening from, and what you'd have done in my chair. I read every one. Thank you for sitting with me. I'll see you on the next one.